Francis in for Will Sutton. Still hanging out with us is Ro Brown. Welcome back, man.
Good morning. Thank you for having me back, Eddie.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming back to hang out with us. Really appreciate you, as always.
Yeah, the usual thing, people. You know what happened? I was on an overpass. Jared saw me,
Yeah.
And, he was nice enough to invite me in.
Were you were you with the people?
Gave me some water and everything.
Yeah. Were you with the people working out on the overpass?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
You weren't one of them?
No, I was just hanging.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't working. They were doing
important
stuff.
They were doing important stuff?
Me, I was just,
Yeah. We'll pull up here to 909 South Norman C. Francis Boulevard, WBOK, which is located at Xavier South, right next to the overpass. Mm-hmm. And we'll pull up and we'll see people working out. They'll be jogging up and down over the overpass. Somebody has a workout program going. They have a boot camp going. Either that or it's a very dedicated group of people who work with each other. Either way,
do they look like students? Maybe it's a country team. This is.
Oh no! These are folk who look like you and me. they look like you and me. They look like me. Like they need to be running over. I need to be running over that overpass
like
with them.
They need to be okay. All right,
I need to be with them.
Because sometimes early in the morning, sports teams, they'll meet or whatever.
Yes,
they do
yes.
Do the little things, the little stuff.
Yeah, I've seen. Oh man, I can't remember where I was, but I think I saw Suno's cross country team one morning.
Oh, I'm sure,
early one morning.
Yeah, and it's always early.
Yeah, they didn't look happy either.
It's always early, but you'll see Tulane.
Yeah,
running the streetcar tracks on St. Charles.
Yes,
you'll see guys.
Yeah, Suno's cross country team. They didn't look happy.
Didn't look happy. Yeah.
No. Well, because it was so when I started working in higher ed, and especially working at NAIA institutions, it was funny to hear the coaches talk about which people who ran track they needed to convince to run cross country. And because, small institutions don't have dedicated cross country teams, so they take the track team. And one of the coaches, because, Suno almost always keeps a Jamaican coach or somebody. I remember this, he was like, man, I have to tell them in order to get condition for the track season, you got to run cross country, man.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to do it. Run through it, man. Run through it, man.
and a lot of times, like you said, working at an NAIA school, National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, which are generally smaller schools than the Division I schools, LSU, Texas, and all that sort of thing. They'll have separate cross country and track athletes.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas the NAIA school, the distance runners on the track meet. You got to be the cross country team.
We're
gonna have one. Okay.
This is conditioning.
It's a little more running than you are accustomed to, but Yeah,
it was so funny though because listening to this one coach, it was so funny because listening to this one coach, he was so surly, and he was just like he's like, Mr. Francis, I don't let them get away with not doing cross country. They think they're just going to do the short. They want to be sprinters, only sprinters. No, you're running cross country. When your time comes, you will shine on the track. But right now, you're running cross. You're in the dirt.
and there's something to be said for what the coach is saying. And it's not just track and field.
Right.
There's one thing. I've always said. There's a certain high school here in New Orleans that has a strong athletic tradition. And one of those strong athletic traditions is in football. And I've always mentioned to people at this certain high school that you guys need to have a wrestling team.
Oh.
Because, wrestling helps linemen.
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah.
With balance.
Yeah.
And, not just strength, but with
Mm-hmm.
balance, and coordination for what you got to do as a lineman on the football team. I mean, it's
That's insightful.
no, that's true. I mean, it
Yeah.
really does. I
Yeah.
mean, you're in that squatting position, and
Yeah.
it really does. One school that lived off that, and I'll say the name of that school in the '60s, Holy Cross lived off of that because they were one of the first schools with a wrestling team.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those football players, they made them wrestle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, they made them wrestle.
Yeah.
All right? And it showed up.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Mhm.
That's it, because now that you mention it, there are a lot of football players who, when the commentators during the broadcasts are going down their resumes, they'll mention, he's, oh yeah, so and so was a wrestler in Michigan,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
so I have noticed that the offensive linemen, when they talk about them, I have noticed that quite a few of them say that they were, or defensive linemen,
Yeah.
they would say that they were wrestlers.
Mhm.
Huh.
And it's not just because they're strong or whatever. I mean,
Mhm.
it just has a lot to do with, like I said, balance in that squatting position, kind of semi-squatting position they're always in, and moving people, and yeah,
You learn something new every
There's
day.
correlation.
You learn something new every day, and still you die a fool. I tell you, man. I tell you. So I would love to, because off air you were telling me a really great story.
What?
So
What?
I got a couple of things I got to tell the WBOK audience. If you are, if you're listening to us, especially if you're part of the Facebook family, and Instagram, YouTube, if you're live streaming, unfortunately, we're having an issue with our phones this morning. And so if you are live streaming on the website, WBOK1230.com, or on the Play Ode app, jump to Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, where you can drop a comment for us this morning. And we are trying to work on this phone issue to see what we can get done. But I have not been keeping up with sports as much as I usually do. I didn't even do.
Good for you.
I didn't do. I mean, I every other year I'll do a March Madness bracket. Didn't do one this year. I have no idea who's doing what, so I would have been throwing darts at the thing and just saying, yeah, fine, it's Sienna in it. Yeah, they'll get to the second round. I mean, so. But I understand that the women's Final Four had quite the buildup to the championship game, and all the action happened in the semifinals. So first of all, Dawn Staley, I have to say this. Dawn Staley, I think, has been great for women's college basketball.
Absolutely.
She's been great for it.
Yeah.
She's a character. She's great at what she does. She was a great basketball player herself. I mean, she's Miss Personality. Like she is, and she's tough. She has been great for women's college basketball.
Yeah,
but South Carolina met their untimely demise in terms of women's basketball last night.
Well,
Didn't work out too well for them. What happened?
well, they got beat. And that's what Dawn Staley would tell you. I mean, last year when UConn beat them, she said, they beat our,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that's what she said this time around. But what you're talking about was what happened in the semifinals
Oh yeah.
on Friday evening.
Yeah.
UConn winners of 50-something in a row, defending national champions. Whole work, great team, great coach, Gino Auriemma.
Right.
I don't know what happened. I don't know for sure, but at the end of the game, well, during the game when they interviewed Gino Auriemma during the game, he was really just pissed off about stuff, and the referee's not making calls, and he said, we're not winning because we're not hitting shots, but they aren't doing, letting players beat up on them. They letting the other coach, call the referees all kind of names, and if I called them those kind of names, they, which is probably true, probably right, and because a lot of these, referees were female, and and so and at the end of the game, when it's time to shake hands, and Gino went at Dawn Staley, and Dawn Staley went back at him, and Gino went back at her, and had to be separated. You know, assistant coaches, officials separate them, and you know, Gino walked off and got a lot of flack for it. And you know, he apologized yesterday, and that's where that stood. But wasn't a good look for Gino Auriemma.
But Dawn Staley made a declaration. Did she not?
yeah. So the effect of, you know, I will beat your, you know, kind of thing, and so yeah, you know, when you come,
that's why when we come Staley,
back from you know, when we come back from the break, you know, just I don't want to stick on this, but you know, just some observations that I've always had about,
about
the whole thing, you know, with women's basketball.
Let's do it.
Gino Auriemma.
Yeah,
you know,
let's do it. Let's do it.
It won't take long. It's just my thoughts I had.
You are Ro Brown. We got time.
Yeah,
we got time for you, Ro. We got time for you. So listen, we're gonna come back right after the break, and we're gonna get Ro's thoughts on women's college basketball and certain effects there. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. And we're on the Good Morning Show on this station called WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Kubel, and here are today's headlines. New Orleans police are investigating a shooting that left a man injured in Gerttown. Police said that this happened around 2:25 this morning on Bloomingdale Court near Arado Street. The victim was taken to the hospital. No word on his condition at this time or any details on what led to that shooting. We're told just before noon on Sunday, a 62-year-old bicyclist was hit and killed on Toulouse Street and North Claiborne Avenue. Investigators say that a car in the right lane stopped to allow her to cross the street, but a car in the left lane didn't see the woman and hit her. The woman was not wearing a helmet and died at that scene. Police say both drivers stayed on scene and the driver that hit her was not given a citation or charged. This morning marks day 6 of the Artemis II mission's space flight around the moon. The Artemis II mission is now far closer to the moon than it is to Earth. The crew will start their historic lunar flyby and observation today when Orion will make its closest approach to the moon and reach its maximum distance from Earth. That is a look at today's headlines for you. I'm Elizabeth Kubel for WBOK. Have a great day, everyone.
New Orleans never sleeps, and neither does WBOK. Now, every voice, every moment, and every show is in your pocket. Search WBOK Media wherever you get podcasts. Download, share, rate us 5 stars. Because when you support us, you amplify Black voices and the New Orleans culture.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Ro Brown.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
With us.
Good morning.
Good morning to our Facebook community, Fern Ware. Thank you so much for checking in, Paul Jensen. We appreciate you. Slow Monday for people, man. I think everybody had a really good time yesterday. They got some rest.
Easter Sunday.
Yeah, they had maybe, I don't know, crawfish gumbo, whatever they had. I don't know. Easter gumbo, Easter crawfish.
Yeah. Pot roast, whatever.
Yeah, pot roast, whatever the Easter fare is for people. It's a slow Monday. Monday, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Feeling the effects.
However, things never slow down for Dawn Staley. Things don't slow down. And she really has been a big deal. And I remember when, the Pat Summitt, who was the coach for Tennessee, the Lady Vols. She was the big deal.
Yeah,
she was the big deal.
She was a big deal.
She was the big deal for a long time in women's college basketball.
Yeah, she was the first dominant coach in the sport. To win several national championships. Tennessee's women's program was way ahead of everyone else's. They were at the party earlier than most everybody else.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's the thing that happened there with this, I mean, supposedly Gino Auriemma felt like he was stood up by Dawn Staley. They do the coach's handshake at the Final Four, where they announce, the starting lineups, and then they say, and the head coach of blah, 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 and then the head coach of blah, blah, blah. And they do the big thing where they meet, they shake hands, and they whisper to each other, and they laugh, and all, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, evidently, Gino's standing there waiting, and she never came. She was, evidently that was his thing. Okay, she was there with the team around, and he's standing there waiting. So, so I guess that's one of the problems that he had. Having said all that, women's college basketball and women's basketball in general has grown in the last few years. I mean, don't underestimate that we got our own character.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's in that too, okay,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Dawn Staley,
Yes,
and
she is.
Kim Mulkey,
Yeah,
okay?
Kim Mulkey is, yes.
She's won 4 of these things, okay?
Mhm.
That's one more than even Dawn Staley has. And she's a character, as
Yeah.
we all know, okay?
Yeah.
And she says what she says, but anyway, I think the thing with Gino Auriemma, and this has always been my opinion, from going to Final Fours, we've had 3 women's Final Fours here in New Orleans. The first women's Final Four was in 1991. Tennessee won that, by the way. Ironically, they beat Virginia in the finals.
Ah, okay.
And the MVP of the women's Final Four was a guard from Virginia by the name of Dawn Staley. Also, that was the first year that a coach named Gino Auriemma made the Final Four.
Ah.
And he looked like a first-time Final Four guy. He was very unsure. He was kind of, just, he just was. He was quiet, to tell you the truth, and he just, deferred to, I mean, you had Pat Summitt there, you had Tara Vanderveer of Stanford, another great coach, who he passed, by the way, for most wins. And Debbie Ryan from Virginia. And the second time the Final Four was here, UConn was in it. And the third time, UConn was in it. And the reaction to Gino Auriemma was totally different the second and the third times. Sitting there with the crowd behind me, it was just really obvious that by that time, Gino Auriemma had won 3 or 4 or 2 national titles. This second, I mean, he'd become a dominant force, and UConn had become a dominant force. And some people may not want to hear this, but there's always a tension when UConn is there and when Gino Auriemma is there. And I think most of it, just from comments and just from the crowd, is that they just didn't like the idea that this dominant team was coached by this man.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it just was, I mean, you've got people like, former coach at Notre Dame, who won a national title, beat UConn a couple times at the Final Four, I mean, she said outright, I'm never going to have a male assistant coach. I mean, she said it, and she say it to you again in the face, and there's just always this feeling. And what makes it worse is that Gino Auriemma isn't grateful and apologetic.
Oh, yeah.
He's not that kind of, I mean, he doesn't go after people, but he's not, they just, he carries himself like, I'm good, and I know I'm good, and that rubs some people the wrong way. And I don't think that's the case with Dawn Staley. I really don't. I really don't. I don't think so. I mean, she respects him as a coach. He's doing the same thing I'm doing, and I'm winning too. And now he's won 11 of them.
Yeah.
but I mean, and just an observation I've always had when I've gone to the women's Final Four and UConn is there.
Yeah.
And you can just feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, some people might deny, but you can. You
Yeah.
can feel it. You can hear it.
Yeah.
It's just.
And I mean, is that on Auriemma? I mean, the fact that
No,
he
I
is
don't think
who
it's
he
on
is,
him.
because
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, UConn and any other university is saying we just want the best person to coach our teams.
Yeah, and I mean,
we
you
want a
can't-
winner.
You
Bring
can't
us a
argue
winner.
with him.
Yeah.
You know, and evidently a lot of great players have no problem with going there and play for him.
No. I mean, here in New Orleans, we got Bo Browder.
You know.
You know.
Yeah.
We got Bo
it's easy,
Browder, and
you know?
he's the man as far as
Yeah, you know.
You
But
know.
I mean, Bo doesn't have the personality that he has, and it's like
Yeah.
anything else. I mean, when you are in, okay, give you an example. People didn't like the way Cassius Clay acted.
Right. Right.
Okay, he's supposed to be like Joe Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Don't smile because you're beating up this white guy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't brag. Don't say you're gonna do it and then do it. It's a similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just, different things. And, having said that, I mean, whatever it was, it just seemed petty and wrong what Gino Auriemma did this weekend.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is something that I've always had. And by the way, the men's Final Four is tonight.
Oh, yeah, that one.
And UConn is in that one. And they have a coach that's a lightning rod, okay? When 60 Minutes does a story on you, then you must be more than a basketball coach. It's UConn taking on Michigan.
Well, UConn is happy.
Yeah, and by the way, UCLA's women won the national title yesterday. They beat South Carolina and Dawn Staley and beat them like Dawn Staley would say that,
They held to their promise.
What she said she would do to Gino, they kind of beat South Carolina like that.
I hear you. Well, listen, on the other side of the break, we have a candidate for the U.S. Senate who's going to be joining us, Nick Alvarez, and we're going to talk to him in just a few minutes. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Ro Brown is joining us on the Good Morning Show on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Hello, friend. Tavis Smiley here with a special announcement. You can catch my show at a new time. Weekdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Same great topics, same great guests, same great conversations, just a little earlier in the day. It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m. only on WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
City Park is where to go when you don't know where to go. Turn towards the city center and start walking. Before long, you'll end up where you belong, at the heart of the city, New Orleans City Park. Stroll along the reeded marsh, wander through the sculpture garden, rest and recharge beneath ancient oak trees. This is where your spirit goes to grow. It's in our nature to yearn for nature. NewOrleansCityPark.org, heart of the city.
Well, Saints of God, this is Pastor David Impartan Sr. coming to you over the airways of WBOK, your favorite host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. I want to invite you to our show every Saturday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. That's Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. I want you to invite your family and friends to a broadcast that's designed to change your life, the way you think, the way you act, and what you eat. We want you to tune in every Saturday at 1 o'clock, WBOK, 1230 a.m. See you on Saturday.
Across Louisiana, electric and gas bills are rising. But why? The Alliance for Affordable Energy, your energy watchdog, can help. Bring your electric and gas bills and your questions to our community bill workshop. Find out, what are these charges? Why do they keep going up? Who set the rates? Bring your bills and join us Tuesday, April 7th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the East Bank Library on West Napoleon in Metairie. Learn more on the Alliance for Affordable Energy Facebook page.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show
Good morning.
on WBOK.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Ro Brown hanging out with us.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for the outlook and or at least the impressions of women's college basketball. That was That was enlightening.
Oh, really?
It was enlightening.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people wonder about it, and you brought some context as you do.
Well, we try.
Give it some
We
texture.
try. Like I said, I'm nothing but a sports guy. That's all I am. That's it.
You hear this, man?
That's all. That's all I am.
So, so joining us is Nick Alvarez. He is a candidate, the Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate, and he joins us this morning. Thank you so much, sir. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you guys for having me this morning. It's a real pleasure to be in studio here at WBOK.
Yeah. So right now, the senator whose seat is up for election in November is Bill Cassidy. But what we have is our primaries that are going to be happening, the party primaries, and those are going to be happening May 16th. So, Nick, let's start from the very, very top with you. First of all, who are you? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, I was born here in New Orleans. I was born at Baptist Hospital.
Okay.
When I was a child, the family moved over to Alabama. Now, I was an undergraduate at the University of Notre Dame. I studied theology.
Okay.
And when I was studying theology, I was a sophomore when the levees broke here in New Orleans. And I said, I got to get back to my hometown, which I always considered my hometown, being born here, having, my extended family, my grandmother, my cousins, and everybody here. I started leading groups to come gut out houses, rebuild. But I realized, it wasn't just houses that needed to be gutted and rebuilt. It was some of the structures and policies that were in place. As we know, Hurricane Katrina was not simply a natural disaster. It was a human-made disaster. And so that got me into policy and into structural change, into community. And so I came back to New Orleans after graduation, worked for Catholic Charities for 5 years. And as I said, I wanted to go deeper into policy. So I went and got my master's degree. I moved up to D.C. My wife and I had met her. We got married here, went to D.C. to get my master's degree in public policy at Georgetown University. And I said, I want to take this time in D.C. to really understand the policymaking process from every angle. So I did an internship on Capitol Hill. I served with the Obama administration. And then after I graduated, I said, we're going to come back to Louisiana because I want to take these skills and I want to apply them back home. So initially we moved to Baton Rouge. I worked at the Louisiana Budget Project doing policy analysis. And then I went on to join Governor John Bel Edwards' administration as a health policy advisor, focused on fighting for Louisiana families, expanding Medicaid, protecting Medicaid. That was a big focus. Now, after re-election, I said, I want to be back in New Orleans. And so my wife and I, we moved back to New Orleans. And for the past 6 years, I've worked with Volunteers of America, Southeast Louisiana, building out social service programs across the Southeast region of the state.
So you are one of these people, it sounds like, who you got your hands dirty. And then you saw things and you wanted to address those things. I know this is a really broad question, but I have got to know what is one policy, one national policy that you can't stop thinking about the thing. It keeps you up at night. It gets you up in the morning.
The thing that I think about immediately is healthcare. It's something that I've been involved in since, undergraduate. I came out that year, 2008, and that's when we were working on getting the Affordable Care Act passed, Obamacare. And it feels like, even though that law was imperfect, it expanded health coverage to millions of people across the country. It set the stage for the Medicaid expansion that we were able to put in place in Governor Edwards' administration to expand health coverage to hundreds of thousands of people. But since that time, in 2008, it feels like we've been fighting to keep it.
Yeah.
And we fought in Governor Edwards' administration. I was on the front lines, making sure that the legislature didn't roll back parts of that. We fought against the Attorney General at the time, who was Governor Jeff Landry now, to push back against ending pre-existing condition protections. And then we also fought during the first Trump administration when Senator Cassidy pushed repeal and replace efforts. I led town halls all across the state. And that's how I got to know a lot of people throughout the entire state of Louisiana, because we did town halls lifting up, this is going to be the impact if these cuts go into place. Now, fast forward to today, they passed what was the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, and that includes $1 trillion of cuts to Medicaid over a decade. But the reason why this really gets at me and keeps me up at night is because they put in place the effective date as January 1st, 2027, after the midterm elections. And so I'm out here on the campaign trail saying, healthcare is on the ballot, and let's elect somebody who is committed to reversing those cuts, to making sure those never go into effect. And I think that if we're able to take back the Senate, take back the House, that'll provide enough pressure to reverse those cuts and make sure they don't go into place. Because estimates show that here in Louisiana, hundreds of thousands of people will lose their health coverage. And that doesn't just affect the 1.8 million people that receive Medicaid. It affects every single person, because if people are losing their health coverage, then they're going to the emergency department to get their care. And that means it's driving up costs throughout the system.
We're talking to Nick Alvarez, candidate for the United States Senate. And, that's a specific healthcare you talked about. But are you running because of the way that current federal government thinks?
Yes.
Operates?
Yes.
Feels, or lack of? Talk about that. I mean, why?
Yeah, as we were talking about off air, this starts with my 3 kids. I have 3 sons. They're 11, 9, and 6. I want them growing up in a world where they can look up to the people that are supposed to be leaders. And I want people who are in positions of power that are leaders who listen to the people, who respond to people's concerns, and who are really engaged in community. Because what I see on the Republican side right now, all the candidates in their primary are focused on one policy platform, or it's not even a policy platform. It's who is closest to President Trump. And my pledge, my commitment is I am going to consistently be closest to the people and represent the people's interests, not one politician. And so, when I look at it, on the other side, they're working to slash health coverage. I want to restore it. They're working to raise costs by pursuing irresponsible tariff policies. I want to reverse that. They're working to just give the president carte blanche to start wars in the Middle East. That's raising all of our prices through energy, and that trickles down into so many aspects of life. And I want to serve as a true check on the executive branch.
So one of the conversations that we had last week on this show, we talked extensively about voters wanting people to represent them, people who they believe they could trust. And this past weekend I had had a conversation with someone, and we talked about the term voter apathy. And one of the things that came up was figuring out how to humanize politics for people, for voters, because I think voters are just seeing so many things that they can't trust right now. And it's not so much voter apathy so much as it's voter mistrust. Mm-hmm. How do you earn the trust of voters? Because we have the primaries, the closed primaries coming on May 16th. We have the general election in November. And as always in Louisiana, we're afraid that people are going to just kind of sleepwalk through the entire experience. But some people aren't sleepwalking. They're alienated. So how do you earn that trust from people, especially in rural areas coming from New Orleans?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because trust has to be built. And I think my leadership philosophy is built upon an acronym that is LEAD, LEAD. And I say listen, engage, act, deliver. So it starts with listening. And so whatever community we're talking about, I feel the need to go into that community to listen to what is concerning people, to listen to how they feel the issues have been taken care of or not, and to figure out ways that we can work together. So to engage with that information and then act through the levers of power that I have currently and that I would have in the future, and then deliver. Because for me, I keep saying this on the campaign trail, that my 2 decades of public service have always been at the service of building community. And that's what I want to do on the campaign trail. So, one of the things I love about campaigning is you get to meet so many people throughout the state doing all different kinds of work. And I want to look to find the connections between people, between ideas. And so even as I'm going about it, it's like, okay, I've got a connection over here. Let me connect this person with that person to see how we can get towards results. And then as a U.S. Senator, of course, I would have at my disposal connections throughout the federal agencies and the ability to do that even at a greater level. And so that's my philosophy, is to continue to engage with people and then also to provide transparency into, this is what we're doing. This is what my universe of agency is, to explain, what we can and can't do at any given time. Because, as a U.S. Senator, I would become one of 100 in a legislative body. And I think that, one of the things that we don't always do a good job of doing is sharing, how the legislative process plays out. We were just talking about the Affordable Care Act, and that's a good example where, that law was passed in 2009. And then we see, we're sitting here in 2026, 15 years later, and, or 17 years later, and it's still being threatened. You don't see the results of any one piece of legislation overnight. And to talk about how we need to stay engaged, and that's one of the things I was talking at a forum the other day, and I said, overall, I think we need to focus on organizing and working to let people engage in the process consistently, because when we're organized, then we have leaders who are really responsive to the needs of the people, and it's not about just one leader.
Is this the first time you run for public office?
Yes, this is my first time putting my name out on the ballot. My career in public service has always been behind the scenes.
Right. Okay, so my question is, did you think about running for something? I want to say, a U.S. Senator is a pretty big position.
Yeah.
Your first one is what I'm saying. Okay, is what I'm asking. Nick, that's what I'm asking. Why?
Yeah.
I mean, why there? I mean,
That's a great question. That's a great question. I started doing some exploratory work for some state legislative seats. I was looking at that. I was working at Volunteers of America in the nonprofit sector, and I said, we don't have as many nonprofit leaders in the legislature as we have in other sectors. And part of that is because, in nonprofits, you have to be nonpartisan. But, this past summer in Indianapolis, I was at our annual conference, and one of my counterparts from another state was a member of their legislature. And similarly, it's a part-time legislature. That's how the state legislature is. And so I said, well, wow, I've always thought about running for office. They blazed this trail, and so this might be something to look into. Well, I won't get into all the details now, but I decided not to run for those seats ultimately. But I did a lot of exploratory work in terms of, what it would take to stand up a campaign and all of that. And, one of the things that I recognized is that the biggest thing you need in order to launch a campaign is courage and confidence, and then to put that forward, and then you attract courage and confidence from the people around you. And when I saw this opportunity, I felt like on the other side, you know, it was interesting because Congresswoman Letlow had just been endorsed by Donald Trump in the Republican primary. And it was right around the time, I can't remember if it was the same week or, you know, where there was this disgusting AI racist video that President Trump had put out on the Obama family. Y'all saw it, see this? Yeah.
The ape thing.
Yeah. And I just said, you know, for this to be the hallmark of these campaigns is putting their arm around Donald Trump. When this is going, when this kind of behavior is happening, we can't let bad behavior go unchallenged. And so, you know, I looked at what people like Jon Ossoff did in Georgia, you know, who's now running for re-election, senator from Georgia, and Reverend Warnock. You know, I looked at John. John's like 6 months younger than me. When he first ran for the U.S. Senate, he had never held a public office before. And so I said, you know, how can I kind of replicate that playbook, you know, in a southern state? There's a lot of similarities. And so much of it is just inspiring confidence and courage. And like I said, stepping forward in that confidence and courage. So that's my background and kind of how I felt called to this race.
Yeah, and I just asked because, you know, I can remember one candidate who was mocked because he was a community organizer.
Yeah. He ended up being president of the United States. That's right.
So yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Like you said, what you've been doing has been behind the scenes, and you know, it's not, you're not on television. You know, people don't know your name and that sort of thing. But
that's right,
doing stuff.
Yeah,
put it that way.
And we're going to be having our first ad coming out shortly. We're actually shooting the ad this week, and looking forward to getting it up so that, you know, people will know the name. And look, it's coming to stations like this, WBOK. I love being on with y'all. And so we've been traveling the state and, you know, being on TV, radio, just to share the message that we need to end the chaos that is Washington, D.C. right now. I mean, look, the president just put out his budget, and it zeroed out the low-income home energy assistance program, LIHEAP, right? At a time when energy prices are soaring. So it's just out of touch with the people here throughout the state. And I think the tide is going to turn. And so that's why, you know, politics is all about timing. And so I feel like now is the time for me to step forward, encourage and confidence, so that we all can take a step forward as a country.
So to close this thing out, we have a few minutes left. Let's do a little voter education, because for folks who still may not realize that the stakes are kind of actually high in a month from now with the May 16th election. Talk about what voters need to understand about when they cast their votes on May 16th about that particular election for Senate. And well, there are representative seats open too, but about that May 16th election.
Yeah, so a couple key points. We do have these close primaries now. And so in order to vote in the Democratic primary, you have to be registered either as a Democrat or no party. If you are no party, you're going to have the choice of participating either in the Republican or Democratic primary. You can't do both. You got to choose one or the other. And you have until April the 25th to change your registration online if you need to. You have until April 15th to change it in person. So those deadlines are coming up. And so check your registration, make sure that you're registered with the party that you identify with. And of course, I would ask everyone, and if you could register as a Democrat or no party so that you can support me. I'm number one on the ballot. But the other important part to know is that, we're going to have early voting May 2nd through 9th, excluding that Sunday. And then Election Day is May 16th. That's the first step in the primary process. If there are runoffs, there's going to be a runoff election June 27th. And then we're ultimately going to have a Republican come out of that primary, a Democrat coming out of that primary, and then we're going to have the general election on November the 3rd. So that's the process that we have in place now for federal elections. And it is new. So I think it's good to educate yourself about the new process. You can go onto the Secretary of State's website, Louisiana Secretary of State, and they have resources there. But the key part is to check your registration, make sure that it's current, and make sure that it aligns with the party primary that you want to participate in. And you've got till April 25th online to do that.
And you can also use the Go Vote app, which is that's one of the best things that we've done in this state is the Go Vote app.
Yes.
Is great. I use it all the time. So Nick Alvarez, candidate for U.S. Senate, and you will be running in the Democratic primary. That's going to be on May 16th. Nick, thank you so much for joining us on WBOK. We really appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks so much. This has been a real treat, and I hope to come by another time soon.
All right, You got it. Eddie Francis and for Will Sutton on the Good Morning Show. Ro Brown hanging out with us. We're going to be back in just a little bit on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
This is The Law and Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton.
If you had $1 million, would you leave it to an 18-year-old?
Hopefully not, but that's exactly what can happen with a simple will. The money goes straight to your kids when they hit the legal age, no guardrails.
A trust lets you control when and how they receive their inheritance. You can set ages, milestones, or even make sure they finish school first.
Give them security, not a spending spree.
This is not legal advice. That's just a tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
Transform your bathroom with the beautiful quality of Bath Planet. As a trusted leader in bathroom renovation, Bath Planet has earned the Good Housekeeping Seal, a symbol of quality and consumer confidence for over 100 years. Get half off installation or 18 months with no interest and no payments. Whether it's tub replacement, a shower replacement, or a tub-to-shower conversion, Bath Planet makes your custom bath fast, easy, and affordable. Here's how it works. 1. Call to schedule your free, no-obligation consultation. 2. Our design experts come to you with real samples to customize your dream bath. 3. Our certified installers complete the transformation in as little as 1 day. And right now, for a limited time, you can upgrade your bathroom for 50% off installation or choose 18 months with no interest and no payments. But you need to call now. This special offer is only available by calling 800-981-8177. That's 800-981-8177. Call 800-981-8177 right now before the offer ends.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Conflict in the Middle East, mixed feelings about artificial intelligence, and more are causing turbulence in markets. But when things are volatile, John Rogers sees opportunity. Rogers is founder, chairman, and co-CEO of Ariel Investments, one of the largest and longest-running black-owned investment firms in the country. Speaking recently at Bloomberg Invest, Rogers says that above all, his firm focuses on being patient and having a long-term view.
You have to wait until you can buy a great business at a bargain price. And then you have to be patient, as sometimes often a company maybe is going through a temporary crisis. You have to be able to look out again over the horizon and see what that company will look like when the sun comes out again and the storms drift away.
Ariel focuses on businesses that it feels will perform well in the long haul, even if it hits some bumps in the road along the way. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Pros, just because something on the job runs out doesn't mean you have to. Order it on the Lowe's app. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25. Get the fasteners, hardware, or tools you need to keep the job moving. Order by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered right to your job site by 8 p.m. Members get more at Lowe's. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Subject to availability. Restrictions and terms at lowes.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
To the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis hanging out for Will Sutton. Ro Brown hanging out with us as well. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Edward. How are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm doing
nice
very
conversation.
Well. Nice conversation you had there.
It was. It is always good to hear a fresh voice when it comes to what we're doing, when it comes to people who are looking to represent us. And it's just so interesting that Torrin Sanders and I had this conversation just last week about, where you want a lot of your candidates to come from.
Right.
Here's the thing that's really interesting. With the primary being on May 16th, I definitely want folks to know who they're looking at on both sides. So, on the Republican side, of course, you have Bill Cassidy, you have John Fleming, Julia Letlow, Mark Spencer. Those are your Republican candidates for the primary on May 16th. However, on the Democratic side, and people may not realize this, we do have two other candidates besides Nick Alvarez. We have Gary Crockett and Jamie Davis. And so, my thing is, as always, is take a look at folks, do a search on them, see who they are, find out what they're from, what they stand for, and make your decision from there. Because this is an extraordinarily important election. There's a lot happening, especially with this being a U.S. Senate election. Right. And that's the thing that we can't undersell. This is a Senate election. This is an enormous election.
Yeah.
Enormous.
Yeah.
And people just can't lose sight of that. So, if you decide that you are going to declare either Democratic or Republican Party, then go ahead and make a declaration so that you can participate. If you're going to remain independent, decide which side you're going to vote on for that primary. Now, as always, good morning to our Facebook community. Fern Ware, thank you so much for hanging out. Paul Jensen, we appreciate you. Jacqueline Wilmore. Jacqueline, as you can see, Jared did work out the camera thing. Elmont, thank you so much. Yes, Professor Martinez, definitely. I have neglected talking about Artemis, the Artemis 2 mission, because we do have a black astronaut. Is it Glover? Victor Glover is his name. name? I want to say
his last name is Glover.
Yeah. I want to say his name is. I am looking it up right now. Victor Glover.
Victor, yeah.
Is his name. As a matter of fact, in a fraternity world, I would refer to him as brother-in-law because he is a man of Phi Beta Sigma. My wife is a Zeta. She's a woman of Zeta Phi Beta. So I did know that about Mr. Glover. And then Keith Wilson. Oh, what's up, Purple? What's up, Purple? Good morning, Keith. Joshua Edmond, good morning to you. Claudia Celestin, good morning to you. And also good morning to Alicia Plummer, who is always tuned in. But again, just so you know about the candidates that we are looking at for the primaries on May 16th. On the Democratic side, we have Nick Alvarez, who just joined us, Gary Crockett, Jamie Davis. On the Republican side, Bill Cassidy, John Fleming, Julia Letlow, Mark Spencer. The Republican side has been nothing short of bizarre, though.
Well,
so wait a minute. I love the DEI accusations.
Well,
that I love. That is hilarious to me. It's like,
like we just said,
they supported DEI.
Like we just said. Yeah. Okay, this is what I think. Okay, like I said, and I'm just a sports guy, but race is always the closer in Republican elections.
Yeah,
race is always the closer. Yeah. It's always the thing that they know that they can fall back on, where they can appeal to a certain number of people.
Yeah,
who won't say anything, but they know that will be the difference for them.
Yeah.
And, the example is in this particular thing, they've been running all these ads about Julia Letlow, how terrible it is that she's making money like Nancy Pelosi did when she was in the House, off of stocks or whatever and inside trading or whatever it was. That's all they've been running until recent times.
I'm sorry.
Now everything is about DEI.
That's really
and
funny.
When they
to me.
put that in, that means they're talking about black. Okay,
but
that's what they mean.
But let's not ignore the fact that DEI programming has made a lot of people a lot of money.
Yes,
a lot of people who would not vote on the Democratic side.
Yes,
they made a lot of money off of DEI initiatives.
Yes,
a whole lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
How? What comes to mind first? Believe it or not, I know you're gonna laugh at me before this. Have you ever seen the movie Flamin' Hot?
No.
It is. I want to say it's on Hulu, but it's a movie about how this Latino cat came up with the recipe for the Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Okay.
That was DEI, because what his argument was, I think it was Frito-Lay. They were having an issue, and they were not selling. The sales weren't going well.
Uh-huh.
And so this Latino cat who was working for Frito-Lay said, I have a great recipe for you. They weren't even thinking about the Latino community.
Right.
They weren't thinking about them. They were just trying to sell chips or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This cat brought this diversity, tried to create some equity, definitely got included in things. Mm-hmm. And Frito-Lay made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a flaming hot something.
Yeah.
Okay, but that is an example. And one of the things I mentioned last week is that, you have folks, and this is one of the reasons DEI programming has failed. You have had people who have come in, they've been hired as the vice president of diversity, blah, blah, blah. No budget, no resources, no nothing. Go make some magic happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do their jobs.
Couldn't do anything. Yeah.
And who got blamed? The person who didn't get the resources. The person who got hired and didn't get the resources to do their job. Like, I don't know, the R&D division, research and development division.
Yeah, but when they talk about DEI, it's solely that, they got something that you were supposed to get, and you didn't get it because they got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is to them.
Oh well.
Oh yes.
But anyway, but no, I mean, it's definitely I would encourage you to take a look at your candidates for the primaries May 16th. That is just over a month away. So we got to get our heads in the game, and we got to go ahead and take a look at who we're going to be voting for.
Okay, I got a question.
And the constitutional amendments.
But I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am no party.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not affiliated with Republican or Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So this means I can't vote?
You can.
How?
As Nick Alvarez just brought up, you can do that. You have to decide which one you're going to vote. You have to vote either in the Democratic primary or the Republican primary. I think this is
But I could still be no party after this.
Yes, you can.
Just that for this election.
Yes.
Is that it? I have to declare which one I'm going to vote in.
I'll get back to you. Yeah. Yes. You have to declare which one you're going to vote for. Yes, you do. Yes.
And I can vote in that primary.
Yes, you can.
Either Republican or Democrat.
Yes.
Now, when you get to the general election in November, then what? Am I no party again? Can I vote?
Am I no party again?
I don't know.
I know. We will definitely get that answer. Actually, we need to go to this break though, because we're at the top of the hour. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we have Dr. Bantu Gross, who is going to join us, and he is going to talk about Dad's Day at the Capitol. I'm Eddie Francis. This is the Good Morning Show on WBOK, where New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Chicago's Black Police Superintendent Larry Snelling is defending officers' actions during last year's immigration protests.
Without our officers being there, these scenes would have been way more violent. There would have been more citizens hurt. There would have been more residents hurt.
Snelling says police did not coordinate with federal agents and were focused solely on preventing violence. Maryland lawmakers have approved a bill to investigate Cheltenham Youth Detention Center's history. The new commission, led by Black State Delegate Jeffrey E. Long Jr., will include formerly incarcerated voices and report its findings by December 2027. And a new report from BLK's second annual State of Black Singles says 75% of Black singles are seeking serious relationships, not casual hookups. The findings show a shift toward intentional dating, loyalty, and long-term commitment. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Ro Brown is joining us right now.
Good morning.
So guess what, Ro? Before we get to our guests, Power Coalition to the rescue. Power Coalition, yes. Closed primaries. What is a closed primary? Okay, if I'm registered as no party, what can I do? You can vote, but you must choose either Democratic or Republican primary. Vote in only one's party's ballot. Stick with that party if there is a runoff. So if you decide that you're going to vote Republican in the primaries, then you got to vote for him in the runoff. And then general election, voters choose between the Democratic nominee, the Republican nominee. So it's one nominee each, any independent or any other party candidates. And so for all right, you can't vote in both parties' primaries. It does not say, though, if you're independent, where do you vote? Or if you're no party, where do you vote in the general election? So I imagine I'm going to say better safe than sorry that maybe you think about voting that same party, but I find that kind of hard to believe. But I'm looking for an Empower Coalition's infographic right here. Yeah, they don't necessarily say general election who no party voters are going to vote for. So, but I know what's going to happen. I know exactly what's going to happen. The Facebook community, they're on it all the time, and they will get us straight on that. They will get me straight. And I'm open to feedback. My therapist has helped me with this. Joining us on the Good Morning Show is Dr. Bantu Groves. How are you, sir?
I'm well, brother. Morning to y'all.
Good morning. And on the line with us is Daryl Creasy. And these guys are going to be participating in a special event tomorrow, Dad's Day at the Capitol, Fatherhood to the Front Lines. That's going to be 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. They're going to be in Baton Rouge, or some of my friends say Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
They're going to be going up to the Capitol. So we're going to start with you, Bantu. So good morning to you, and tell us what is going on. Why is Dad's Day at the Capitol something that you and Daryl are so invested in?
Yeah, we're invested in it. Well, one, thanks for having me. Come on and talk about it a little bit. So this is our second year of doing Dad's Day at the Capitol. So it started with a bill that was passed, SCR 9, last year. And so from August 2025 to December 2025, well, actually February 2026, we met, us and several other family serving agencies in the governor's house, the governor's mansion. And we talked about fatherhood, what it is, what it ain't, could be, should be, would be in an ideal world. We had folks from DCFS, LDH, LMNOP, and all those other good groups that come by. And so during that time, we also did several interviews with guys right here in New Orleans, Lafayette, and all around Louisiana, just to gauge what they understood about fatherhood, the barriers they felt, and the supports they needed. And in addition to that, we also did surveys where we had an online survey that got pushed out all throughout Louisiana. We got responses from guys. And so from that, the task force was like, this is the information. We compiled it into a report that is now available for your reading pleasure. And it just shows that dads want to be engaged and want to be involved. And they highlighted the different areas where they have some struggles and the different areas where they have supports. And so with this year's iteration of Dad's Day at the Capitol, we're going to talk about those findings. And then we're also going to push now for a fatherhood commission to actually be here in Louisiana that would be static. It would be here permanently, where we could look at fatherhood more comprehensively on a continuum and on a more regular basis.
Daryl, tell us why this initiative is important to you.
Oh, man. Monday blessings. Thank y'all for having us on. Quite honestly, man, just from my own personal experience, this initiative is pretty much a culmination of my shift in being more fatherhood present and advocating for dads so that way they didn't experience the same thing that I experienced. Let me give y'all a little context, because my fatherhood experience was kind of crazy. How I met Bantu was I had just came off of supervised visits, and it shifted from me having supervised visits to their mom having supervised visits, like literally the same day. And I didn't know how to handle that, so I sought for support. I needed some therapy, and I said my kids needed some therapy. So Bantu, we got him in the mix to be my son's therapist. So I had each one of my children had a therapist. I had a therapist, and we also did family therapy. And through my experience, Bantu and I formed a fellowship and brotherhood, understanding that, we kind of needed one another to kind of, support each other on this fatherhood journey. And overall, Fathers Matters is focused on whole family wellness, right? And through the investment of fathers. So Dad's Day at the Capitol is something that is very near and dear to us. So that way we can definitely let dads and men know that collectively we have enough power to make change. And then also working together is a way that we can also sharpen one another.
Daryl, Therapy brothers in the house. Therapy brothers in the house. So
Therapy brothers in the house.
So that really quickly, Daryl, what has therapy done for you as a father? What is something about fatherhood that has been unrealized for you?
Man, just the thought that I'm not going through it alone. You know, I'm not by myself in this little silo of experience, right? Through our work, our dad discussions, fathers matter dad discussions, we've talked with hundreds of dads, even thousands of dads around their experience, and every man, every father has a relatable experience. You know, it may look a little different, but it's all along the same lines of trajectory. And what I've come to realize as far as therapy and my own experience is that it's given me methods and strategies to kind of calm my emotions, also be more mindful of critical thinking, and definitely put the overall mission of making sure that I'm straight so that way my kids can be straight at the forefront of all of my decisions.
All right. Listen, Daryl, man, too, stick around with us because we have to take a quick break, and we definitely want to hear more about your visit to the Capitol tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Ro Brown is hanging out with us on the Good Morning Show on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Kubel, and here are today's headlines. New Orleans police are investigating a shooting that left a man injured in Gerttown. Police said that this happened around 2:25 this morning on Bloomingdale Court near Arado Street. The victim was taken to the hospital. No word on his condition at this time or any details on what led to that shooting. We're told just before noon on Sunday, a 62-year-old bicyclist was hit and killed on Toulouse Street and North Claiborne Avenue. Investigators say that a car in the right lane stopped to allow her to cross the street, but a car in the left lane didn't see the woman and hit her. The woman was not wearing a helmet and died at that scene. Police say both drivers stayed on scene and the driver that hit her was not given a citation or charged. This morning marks day 6 of the Artemis II mission space flight around the moon. The Artemis II mission is now far closer to the moon than it is to Earth. The crew will start their historic lunar flyby and observation today when Orion will make its closest approach to the moon and reach its maximum distance from Earth. That is a look at today's headlines for you. I'm Elizabeth Kubel for WBOK. Have a great day, everyone.
This is Monica Pierre along with Sally Ann Roberts Daybone, co-host of Your Power is On.
Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for music that feeds the spirit. Get your Sunday on.
Right here on WBOK 1230 a.m. and WBOK1230.com, the station you listen to all day long.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Ro Brown hanging out with us. Also hanging out with us, Dr. Bantu Gross and Daryl Creasy. Tomorrow, the state capitol is going to be Dad's Day at the Capitol. Fatherhood to the front lines. They're going to be hanging out 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. You're going to be hanging out in the old rotunda there. Huh?
Yeah.
All right. Got you. The rotunda where everybody comes through. All the school field trips come through.
Right. Spend some time there.
Yeah. You know, you got to
talking to legislators and all that good stuff.
Got to protect the stuff on your display table. You know, I was there. I did the Southern Day at the Capitals when I was when I was at Pseudo. And man, if you had something on your table that you did not want people to take, you need to take it off your table.
Because they were going to take it.
You cannot have that stuffed animal. It's on the table. It's on the table.
It's not a free for all.
Not a free for all.
Look, I've always, I haven't always felt this way. I had a great father, you know. Let me just say that. So I had a great father. But do you get the feeling sometimes, Daryl? It just seems like the only time people acknowledge fathers is when they're not there.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense to anybody? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
The only time that the people bring up fathers is when they ain't around.
Definitely. I remember I did a presentation in DC, I don't know, several years ago, and I was talking about positive images of dads and like how dads are engaged, how they're involved. When dads are around, kids' grades go up. They're likely to be productive citizens, all this other fun stuff. But then I opened the floor for Q&A, and a lady asked me, what about the bad dads?
Oh, goodness.
And I was like, but we spent 30 minutes talking about the good dads, and you just want to talk about the bad dads.
But no one ever asked about the bad moms.
Don't go there.
No. What I'm saying is nobody ever asked.
No. They
that.
never.
Yeah.
I've never gotten that question about a bad mom.
It's disproportionate.
Very disproportionate. Daryl can definitely attest to this too. But as much as we've been doing the fatherhood work, like we'll get women to come on, oh, this is good. What about moms? Do they have anything like this for moms? And so we got the question so much, I got agitated with it. So I did a Google search, and I was like, how many federally funded programs support moms? And AI told me several programs. Then I said, AI, what about dads? It said, there's 3.
Wow.
There's 3.
Yeah.
And so whenever I hear, a woman ask me that question, it's like, you just haven't done your research, because there are several programs available for moms, but not a lot for dads. And dads need support. Daryl mentioned it before, but, that's the mental health aspect of it for dads, where, who do we actually talk to about fatherhood? Because when men want to talk about some of the struggles they have, who can we go to that we can trust? A lot of times you see guys go to Jack Daniels, Elijah Craig, who are not good resources to talk to about these things when you actually need licensed therapists. But if you can't get a licensed therapist, just being in the midst of about 3 or 4 dads to talk about what you're going through is so impactful. We had a story once upon a time of a young dad. He was fighting to get custody with his son. And his son was like 2, maybe 3 years old. He hadn't seen the boy walk, talk yet. And so there was another dad in our group, and he said, I commend you for fighting to see your son, because I gave up fighting for my son. And my son is now 29 years old and is in an Oklahoma prison. And I wish I had been around for it. So I'm proud of you to keep fighting. Yeah. So stories like that just motivated that young dad.
Daryl, when you hear some of these issues pop up, as a dad, what do you think to yourself is something that you want to do to correct some of the narratives?
Oh man, I think there's a institutional or /systemic societal narrative that's been spun for many decades now, and it's pretty difficult to fight the machine, right? In some senses, if we living in the matrix, people only want to jump out of the matrix when it's comfortable for them. And most people stay in the matrix because that's their level of comfort that they are used to. They're programmed to that, so they just deal with it. Now, when it comes to dad issues, I will say just over the last couple of years, there's been a big uptake in Black men having a lot of interest in. It's like my mentor OT say, Black men are trending, right? And look, and it's real, right? So right now, it's really a pivotal moment in history for Louisiana and New Orleans, just in general, for dads to understand, men to understand that this is the time for them to be actionable, for them to get an understanding of their power, for them to know that they are not operating in a silo experience, and they have other people that they can connect with, people that they can trust, as Bantu mentioned, right? Reliable folks that they can build with and help them invest in themselves and their families. So my recommendation will be to, if you are seeking any type of support as a man, that's think about it, fellas. There's no blueprint or no kind of rubric around the rights of manhood, the rights of parenthood, So we definitely have to move into that old adage of spoken down wisdom, talking with your village, creating a village for yourself and the betterment of your family.
So, Bantu, what is something that you are looking forward to? You did mention legislation earlier. What is something that you're looking forward to addressing tomorrow?
I think one of the biggest things for me has always been seeing dads as equal to mom. I think far too often we assume that dads are aloof. He doesn't know what he's doing. I liken it to Homer Simpson, that when you see a dad with a kid, it's like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. Or,
media representation has a lot to do with that, I think.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
They'll come out with attempts like daddy daycare, but even with that, it depends on the perspective, I guess. Like, it could be viewed as, how are you babysitting your own kid? Or is it just a bunch of dads running a daycare? But typically you'll get, I know I've gotten this before. It's like, oh, it's so nice to see you with your kids, as if I'm a dodo bird and we're extinct. It's like, this is what we do. Like, take your kids out. We read books. We go to playgrounds together.
Yeah.
I'm active. I'm engaged. So it acts like that's what they used to do back in the 1900s. And so it's like, no, this is what we do every day. And you see it. Yeah. But a lot of times it's just not being acknowledged.
And my daughter, who's 37 now, when she was 5 months old, my sister was in New York City dying of cancer. And I wanted her to see my daughter.
Yeah.
And so I took her up to New York when she was 5 months old. And my wife told me, she went to work and told them where I was going. All the women in the office said, "You let him go by yourself?"
Yep. Like you're a foreign guy or something.
She went, yeah. Said, more than one. You mean you let him take her all the way to New York by herself?
My goodness.
She's only 5 months old? Yeah.
It's perfectly normal in society.
Well, yeah, because somebody made this observation to me once, and I wish I could remember who, but they said, it said that at the time my son was probably, he was a toddler, so he was, I don't know, 5'7", whatever. Mm-hmm. And they said, Eddie, well, what do you watch? And I said, sit down. We do the whole gamut, Nick, Disney, do the whole thing, the whole lineup. And they said, so what do you think about the representation of dads in these shows?
Mm.
And I sat back and I thought, they're all buffoons.
Yeah, or they're dying. Like Mufasa dies.
Yeah, but so many of them are they're characterized as buffoons.
Yeah.
And I had not given that any thought. I hadn't given it any thought at all. Not until somebody asked me what I thought of the representation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it was just something else. And then you had all the movies in the 90s, the tragic black man movies in the 90s. It was like, man, ain't nobody care about me, man. It was like...
Yeah.
I ain't never had no daddy.
Like, never had a dad. Yep. I'm trying to be a dad. Yeah, that story. Yeah.
So seriously,
terrible.
It was always the dramatic brother who was just ain't nobody ever cared about him. And I was just like, good. And it actually carried over. And I realized how impactful it was when I was doing a talk with a group of high school students, early 2000s. And I told them, I said, well, one of my favorite days is Father's Day. Mm-hmm. And they were like, why? And I said, that was one of my fondest memories with my dad. And my dad had just passed away. And I said, that was one of my fondest memories with him. I said, it's one of the best days. I said, my son and I have a ball with this kid on Father. We, and my birthday's in June. So sometimes my birthday will fall on Father's Day.
Yeah.
And they just looked at me. These kids looked at me and they just said, where you from? And I was like, I'm from New Orleans. I'm from the same city as you.
Yeah.
Wait, why was your daddy around? And I was just like, why was my
daddy around?
I was like, man, these are real questions for these kids.
Yeah. But even with that, like the data tells us different. Like in 2012, I believe it was, or 2015, CDC said out of every ethnicity, black dads are more engaged, more involved. So they're combing hair, picking kids up, helping them with homework. We doing all those different things. And even when you think about absenteeism, like there's levels to it. Like there's some dads who are like, I'm there every other weekend, or I'm not there this weekend, or I haven't been there in a year, or I just completely false. So there's levels to it, but they're still engaged. and they're still involved. And a lot of times the nuance is not talked about. It's just like, well, you're not here, and we just forget about you. But specifically when you think about black dads, there's not a lot of grace extended to black dads. It's like if you're not there all the time, then you're not there any of the time, even if you have two households that you're taking care of. So it's like, I'm daddying over here and I'm daddying over here. And there's several stories of dads like that, where it's like, you know, they'll start a new relationship and they'll take care of those kids and make sure that dad can still see his kids. And so those stories aren't being pushed. The only stories that's being pushed is the ones that's not around.
Dad's Day at the Louisiana legislature. You have a legislature that is a deeply Republican legislature, a legislature that even though the president that they pledge allegiance to says that you guys need to take care of social stuff. Okay, you know, we shouldn't be paying for this social stuff. Okay, even though he tells them that. What do you expect to get from them? What kind of reaction do you expect to get from them? That sounds like a dumb question too. But I
think fatherhood should be bipartisan because you got conservative dads, you got liberal dads. So there really should not be a party allegiance. But I do know over the past several years that, you know, conservatives kind of, you know, taken over the whole party of family. But I mean, there's dads on each side. And so I don't understand. Well, I do understand why it's politicized. Let's not play dumb, as Daryl likes to tell me. Let's not play dumb. But it's something that definitely needs to be shifted because it has polarized it to the place to where fatherhood should not be as political. But black fatherhood in particular has been very politicized over the years, and it will continue to be that way until we begin to like turn the tide.
Yeah. Well, this is some good stuff that you're going to be doing tomorrow, and tomorrow is Dad's Day at the Capitol. Fatherhood to the front lines. Dr. Bantu Gross, Daryl Creasy, thank y'all so much. We really appreciate y'all hanging out. Is there a call to action that you have for the public, by the way, as a parting shot here?
Hey, you want to start us off, Daryl?
Yeah. So, one, just follow us on social media at Fathers Matter NOLA, Instagram, Facebook, Fathers Matter Program. Two is, if you have not already, register for Dad's Day at the Capitol. We are offering limited gas vouchers for people who may need them, and also bus rides for people who are not trying to drive. It's going to be a wonderful event. It's going to be an opportunity for y'all to just connect with other dads, be able to talk about policy. There's going to be an opportunity for dads to get recognized at the Capitol as well. It'll be a wonderful event, and it's also, again, just a culmination of dads trying to take back, dads making an attempt to be involved in policy and state policy and procedures around fatherhood inclusiveness. So if you want your voice heard, make sure you show up.
Yeah. And all the dads that are listening right now, pull up.
All right. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you. Once again, Dr. Bantu Gross and Daryl Creasy, thank you so much for joining us on the Good Morning Show. We're going to be back in just a few. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Ro Brown hanging out on the Good Morning Show on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
I'm Leo Jackson, host of Sunday Gospel here every Sunday morning, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 o'clock till 2 p.m. You don't want to miss this move of God. It happens only on WBOK. You listen to all day long.
The National World War II Museum. Located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans, the National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
City Park is where to go when you don't know where to go. Turn towards the city center and start walking. Before long, you'll end up where you belong. At the heart of the city, New Orleans City Park. Stroll along the reeded marsh, wander through the sculpture garden, rest and recharge beneath ancient oak trees. This is where your spirit goes to grow. It's in our nature to yearn for nature. NewOrleansCityPark.org, heart of the city.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Ro Brown hanging out with us. Good morning, Ro.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
And this morning we are joined by Cheryl Levine from Rise St. James and Robert Taylor from Concerned Citizens of St. John. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you?
Fine.
Good.
How
Fine.
are you?
Lovely.
Good. So there is, to say the very least, there is a lot going on in your area.
Yes, it is.
Always.
Yes, it is. It is. They want to poison us. They want to continue to poison us.
So I know people, I've heard the vignettes that we've been running on a radio station where you talk about a chemical of the
chemical
week,
of the month.
of the month.
Yes.
And that I have to say is revealing.
Oh, good.
Revealing. Because, when you talk about the chemicals of the month, you're talking about the chemicals that you're trying to survive
Thank you.
now.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the one in St. John with Dinka DuPont.
So one of the things that I found out not too long ago is that in Louisiana, particularly in your area, we have probably the largest numbers of chemical plants, or
yes,
is it in the country, or
it's in Council Alley, that 85-mile stretch.
An 85-mile stretch
yes, from New Orleans to Baton Rouge.
200 industry, 200 chemical, 200 plus
chemical and refineries.
So what is so I know this is a really broad question, and we'll start with you, Cheryl. What is the latest right now that people might not know about as far as what Rise St. James is doing and what you're dealing with?
We're dealing with so much. Talking about the bill that they're trying to pass when they can take someone's property. We're talking about that. And we're also talking about Hyundai, the plant that's trying to come into Donaldsonville, my neighbors, where the Francis live. And so we're talking about those things, and we're trying to, the people in Modest, part of Donaldsonville, is asking for help. They came to us to ask us to help them to stop Hyundai from coming in, because they want to come in and just take the land. And the company, one company I don't know how many companies, because my son drives from one of the other companies, and they have dump trucks that goes there daily to bring dirt. They don't have a permit, but they want to start moving into the action, you know, to get ready to build, even though they don't have a permit. And we're trying to stop that.
So, Robert, I mean, I know you have probably heard this. Cheryl, I know you've probably heard this. But when someone comes up with a wonderful suggestion of, why don't y'all just move? What is the response to that?
Oh, God.
I know you probably heard this quite a bit.
Yes,
yes, I have. Sometimes it's insulting, really.
Right.
You know, when I think about, you know, we second and third generation, some of us much longer than that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Much longer than that. And especially in my particular case, you know, where I built a beautiful home here, and I built a home that I'm thinking I'm leaving to my posterity, you know, my children and their children. And then this company decides to come in here from Japan and set this conglomeration right in the middle of our community. You know, there's an iconic high school. Well, it was the only black high school in the Tri-Parish area for years.
And that was?
Fifth Ward High School in Reserve. Yeah.
In Reserve.
You know, I went there. My mother went there. You know, my kids went there. The integration came in. They converted it to an elementary school. But it is the one that they bus kids in from all over the parish. We had 500 students, black kids, you know, right there. And they want us to move.
Yeah.
I mean, when they ask that question, you know, we've all built homes.
Right.
You know, in the community I live in, it's 95% home ownership. We've built a community here. And somebody got the audacity to come in here and ask us to move, you know. And I don't know if it's because of their lack of knowledge about the real issues we're dealing with. But yes, like you said, that question is always brought, well, why don't you guys just move?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, I've witnessed supposed buyouts, you know, because
me too.
Some plants have supposedly bought, and it's never worked out for the people.
Yeah.
It was terrible for the people,
Yeah.
even when they proposed that. But in the issue of the people right here now, we're talking about 8,000 people. The plan ain't about to talk about buying us out. They don't mention that.
They want us to die.
Yeah.
So then they come in and forward this question on it. Why don't you move?
That's right. And when they first came to St. James, well, when Formosa Plastics announced that they were coming to St. James, and the people would ask me, why don't you move? I said, where will I get the funds from? And I said, first of all, Formosa didn't ask us. Formosa, the other industries bought out the white, but not the blacks. So it just like we grew up with these white people, went to school with them, and they took off and left because they knew 10 years prior to the plants coming in. They sold their properties, sold their big, beautiful homes, and they went somewhere else. I said, I thought we were together. You left us here to die? Then you moved to another town? No. They didn't ask us. They want us to die. And in St. James, 5th District, we are dying. We are dying so fast. People have to come and see. People in Washington, Administrator Reagan came to see what we have left. We have a skeleton town left. Industry have taken over. And I said, Formosa's not coming here. That was 8 years ago. Formosa's not there yet. But they're still trying.
Yeah.
They're trying to get funding from the banks. They can't get the funding.
Ms. Levine and Mr. Taylor, a lot of people, I'm sure, you know, they see the spots on television, Rise St. James. They see some things, you know, but tell people what it is, how it came about. Because, I mean,
that's a long story. But I can shorten it.
It's long, but you can shorten it. I mean, there are a lot of people.
I've been asked that question so many times.
I mean, you're in a situation where, you know, I'm holding a publication you got here now and all that. So it's not like you just somebody that's just making noise. Okay.
Well, that's true. I guess I was somebody before I became like this. I mean, I was a nobody. Then now I guess I'm a somebody.
Well,
I was teaching school, and then I found out that Formosa wanted to come in. And then I was in another organization that did nothing about industry, nothing about anything.
Right.
I sat in that meeting for 2.5 years, and we talked about why they sold our high school. You sit up here and let them buy our high school? What kind of organization is this? So we complained and complained. And when Formosa said it was coming in 2018, we asked them to let's fight Formosa. We don't do that. We don't fight industry. I said, I didn't know you don't fight. So we prayed, and God told us to fight it. And we've been fighting it ever since. And I asked Formosa for a meeting. They wouldn't meet with me, but they met with my council person. Council person sold us out. And he told them, he asked for 6 things for them to, to give to us so they can build 2 miles from our homes. He's losing his mind, so we voted him out of office. And we voted another one in, Robert. We voted the other man in. He betrayed us too. So I did a recall. I almost had the recall, but I had to have surgery, and the weather got bad. So I said, God didn't want me to get that recall, so I don't worry about that. Go to the next step. So maybe I might have to run. I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. Those 2 idiots are not getting back in office. If I have to run, I guess I have to do it.
Now, I don't want people, before you start, Eddie, I just want to put this in. I don't want people to think that I'm making light of it because you heard me chuckling while Ms. Levine was talking. It's because I'm looking at a publication and I see 2 whole pages of a environmental hall of shame for politicians.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You saw that.
Environmental hall of shame.
Yes, indeed.
Here's to our first annual Cancer Alley Politicians Environmental Hall of Shame. I won't call any names. I'll let you do all that, but they got them in there, okay?
Yes.
Color pictures and everything.
All you have to do is read the paper. Just read the paper. That's why we have our papers, huh, Robert?
But I mean, one of the things I have to say, this comes up on the show time and time again about people being engaged and voting. And I just love the story you told where you said, well, they weren't doing the right thing, so we voted them out.
Sure did.
Well, we're going to vote the next one out.
We have to vote those out too.
Well, you know what? And the fact you said, maybe I got to run. And I think...
I don't want to run, but I might have to.
But I think that there is such a lesson in that for listeners, especially for people who are saying, my vote doesn't count.
Those young people tell that to us all the time.
Yeah.
We try to educate the public. We have education. We have a meeting every month.
You have more energy than the young people.
Lord.
I mean, a lot of us say that. A lot of us say that. And we're sitting there going,
I was overworked. Looked like I just had that drive since 2018, and that drive was in me. I didn't even take a vacation. So they kept fussing at me to tell me to take a vacation. I took a week off. I came back refreshed and ready to fight.
Yeah.
And this week I'm taking off too. Coming back next week, I'll be ready to fight. We're going to figure out ways to get rid of these polluters. If we can't get rid of them, you're gonna follow the guidelines and not listen to LDEQ and still pollute us, polluting every day. One week they kept those flares in the air every day. I kept taking pictures, sending them to the attorney so she can send it to LDEQ. What are you emitting in the air on the people?
And I have to tell you, I travel a lot. So flying over that area,
tell me about it.
It looks insane.
It does.
And I've heard people on planes. I've heard the murmurs on the plane going, "What are those?"
That's
and
right.
People like, those are chemical plants. All of those are chemical
and
plants.
Storage tanks.
And you can.
We have
hear
100.
sing, yeah.
We have 100 storage tanks within a 10-mile radius. We have 12 industries within a 10-mile radius. We have 3 districts in St. James Parish. The 5th and the 4th district are the predominantly black district that they put these industries in. When they say, let's put it in that white district, all of them vote no. The blacks and the white, all of them vote no. They say, put it in 5th district. All of them raise their hand, yes. You know how I know? Because I go to the meetings. I'm so tired of going to those dull meetings because I get so discouraged. I'm so serious.
Yeah.
Before I started this work, I didn't go to the meetings. My brother, I thought the men was doing all the work. That's what I thought. And then so now I guess the women go into the meetings sometimes. So I started going, I listen, people up there talking crazy talk. Yeah, let's put it there. Put it there. Don't put it on us. Go put it in your backyard. All 7 of them have to vote if they're going to put it in the 5th district. Let the 5th district vote. The resident of that district vote. Why you got to have all 7 of them voting to poison us? If I get in office, all that's going to change.
So, Mr. Taylor, there's something that strikes me about this conversation. What strikes me about this conversation is that even if everybody were to say, okay, everybody, we're all going to agree as a community, we're going to pick up and leave. It seems to me that these companies would just build out even closer and they would keep expanding if they could. Yes. And it gets to a point where nobody can go anywhere.
That's right. Yes.
That to me, that is the behavior of industry. They're going to keep building where they have availability. I mean, am I crazy for thinking something like that?
No.
No, that's right on point, sir. Matter of fact, some information I found out belatedly is that we have been designated a sacrifice zone.
Yes.
A sacrifice?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
That's a thing?
Yes.
What?
Yes, that's us.
Look,
Designated by who, Mr. Taylor?
That's I do not know, but I get it from there are 5 books out on Cancer Alley, The Sacrifice Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, I was informed of that by an attorney in Houston, by his office. He's actually from Lafayette, and he heard about us, and he called me and said, we want to help you. So he put me in touch with his assistant. And in our conversation, that's when she mentioned to me, just sort of side-handedly, because she figured I knew, you know, and that was my first time hearing it.
Me too. I didn't know at first.
And she sent me, she said, Mr. Taylor, there are 5 books out on it. She said, matter of fact, I'm ordering some now. Would you like one? She actually sent me a book.
And we had no
Cancer
idea.
Alley is a sacrifice zone. So what you said is absolutely right. They would love for us to run and leave. They're killing us at a terrible rate.
Yes, they are. I'm telling you,
See,
people are dying.
that's what really got me started in this. 2016, EPA came to Reserve Louisiana.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Wow, EPA is coming to Louisiana. They're coming to the South.
Yes.
They're coming to Louisiana,
Yes.
but they're coming to Reserve?
Yes, reserve. That's right.
So at our gymnasium at our Catholic school, that's where they held a meeting. And that's when they informed us. That's when I first became aware of what the problem really was that we were suffering from. EPA made it clear. They said this plant is poisoning y'all. They were referring to DuPont Denker.
That's right.
The emissions. He said, and what we have set up is a monitoring system, and we've set rules on the amount of pollution that they can emit. And it's going to be monitored, and it's going to be made public to you. So when I got the first report for it, where it's supposed to be 0.2 micrograms per cubic meter of air, 0.2 micrograms. When the first report came to me, the school was the first thing they brought up. It says 0.2 is what the government said, and DuPont is dumping 400 times that amount on the elementary school. 400 to 700 times.
That's right.
It varied from nowhere as near 0.2. And so I could not believe it. Well, I live right next door to the school. So, that's census tract 78. So that's everybody in that census tract. That's just that one chemical, which is a known carcinogen, which is what brought EPA to Reserve, because they were looking. Reserve was, if it wasn't a sacrifice zone, it was certainly being sacrificed, and I had no idea.
No.
So when I left that meeting in Baton Rouge, me, my pastor at the time, and council person, the 3 of us formed this organization as a result of that meeting. And we immediately hit the ground running. There had been nothing going on in Cancer Alley in terms of protecting the people from these plants. In 2016, and that's the reason EPA came. But now at the time, there were 3 very prominent organizations functioning in the river parishes, supposedly to help us. None of these organizations were from the River Parish, though.
Mm-hmm.
See, but they were getting tons of money,
Mm-hmm.
and they were operating under the guise of helping the people.
Right.
You know, and so when this took place, and when we formed this organization, and that's how I met Sharon, because
that's
her
how I met-
organizations we joined
came up
together.
after him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was when I formed this and we started acting.
Mm-hmm.
That's when these other organizations
Yeah.
really came up
and started making money off of us.
against us.
And they got
So, if anyone wants to, because we have to go to break, but if anyone wants to join, if they want to advocate, if they want to donate to either Concerned Citizens of St. John or Rise St. James, Ms. Levine, first of all, how can people find out about Rise St. James?
You go to risestjames.org, and you're going to go to our website, and there's a donation button on that website. But we're getting ready to change from our fiscal sponsor to our own 501c3
Okay.
on May 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, so all that's going to be changed.
Okay. So
or
people
you
are
could
gonna
just send it to the P.O. Box in Vashry, Louisiana.
All right, and people can be able to work directly with you. And
Yeah,
then what
that's
about
right.
Concerned Citizens of St. John? How can people find out more?
Same, Concerned Citizens of St. John.org, and all of our information is there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Cheryl Levine and Robert Taylor. Thank you so much for joining us here at WBOK on the Good Morning Show. We really, really appreciate you, and keep on fighting. We'll be looking for you running for something. We'll be looking for you.
I don't know. But I hope
Well,
we
we
find
wanna-
a nice candidate. I'm hoping.
Yeah, we'd like to thank you guys for
You
having
know
me.
what?
thank y'all.
I tell you what, you're going to get through to one of those young people, and somebody's going to take up the baton.
No, we need to.
Somebody's going to do it. Somebody is going to do
praying,
it.
yes.
Somebody's
Because
going to
we-
do it.
We always try to do outreach, let the public know what's going on.
Yes.
And we bring it out in our meetings and stuff. And we're going to have our Juneteenth event. We're going to have attorneys speaking about our cases. We're going to have people talking about what's going on. Now my daughter's talking about plastic, how everything is made with plastic, how the plastic is going into our bodies. The plastics are made from chemicals, oil and gas, but it's too much until it's affecting our bodies.
Yeah.
So she's going to talk about that also.
RiseStJames.org. Thank you so much for joining
All
us
right.
on the Good Morning Show. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Ro Brown is hanging out with us on the Good Morning Show.
Okay.
WBOK, where New Orleans is talking about all
Okay,
day
all
long.
right. All right, y'all. This was short.
Thank you so much.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Conflict in the Middle East, mixed feelings about artificial intelligence, and more are causing turbulence in markets. But when things are volatile, John Rogers sees opportunity. Rogers is founder, chairman, and co-CEO of Ariel Investments, one of the largest and longest-running black-owned investment firms in the country. Speaking recently at Bloomberg Invest, Rogers says that above all, his firm focuses on being patient and having a long-term view.
You have to wait until you can buy a great business at a bargain price. And then you have to be patient, as often a company maybe it's going through a temporary crisis. You have to be able to look out again over the horizon and see what that company will look like when the sun comes out again and the storms drift away.
Ariel focuses on businesses that it feels will perform well in the long haul, even if it hits some bumps in the road along the way. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Pros, just because something on the job runs out doesn't mean you have to. Order it on the Lowe's app. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25. Get the fasteners, hardware, or tools you need to keep the job moving. Order by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered right to your job site by 8 p.m. Members get more at Lowe's. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Subject to availability. Restrictions and terms at lowes.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Hey, this is Dave Poston. Be sure to listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday evening at 5 p.m., bringing you the best Southern Soul barroom music with the Southern Soul Weekend Party Mix, hosted by me, of course. I'll be playing your favorite Southern Soul music by artists from all over the South, right here on WBOK 1230 AM or online at WBOK1230.com. The station you listen to longer. Listen to longer. Listen to longer.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and do not have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you do not pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call. If you've been injured in an auto accident, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
This is The Law in Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton.
When it comes to family planning, should you go with a will or a trust?
A will is like leaving instructions to the court. It tells them who gets what, but your family still has to go through a succession, which can be costly and time-consuming.
A trust, on the other hand, avoids court altogether. So when the time comes, everything transfers smoothly to your loved ones.
It's a little more work up front, but way less hassle and expense later. Plan smart, save time, and take care of your family.
This is not legal advice. That's just a tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show as we close this thing out. As a reminder, web addresses so you can find out what's happening in St. John's Parish as these folks are battling Cancer Alley. RiseStJames.org. RiseStJames.org. You can make donations. You can support. You can advocate. You can also go to ConcernedCitizensOfSt.John.org. ConcernedCitizensOfSt.John.org. Same thing. Feel free to advocate. Follow them both also on social media. And, of course, they're the vignettes that they do here on WBOK, plastics, or I should say a chemical of the month, in which they talk about the chemicals that they are being affected by. So, yes, advocacy, I know, is always welcome with these folks. So, Ro, thank you so much for hanging out with me, man. I appreciate you.
Oh, Eddie, thank you for having me. Thank you for putting up with me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for putting up with me.
No.
Yeah, and I want to thank the audience for putting up with me. I thank you very much. Will is going to be back tomorrow, but I'll be back hanging out with Will on Thursday and Friday because I am the weekend guy. All right, that does it for the Good Morning Show.
Guy?
Yes. Up next, Kemba with the front porch. Not the side porch, not the back porch, but hang out on the front porch, okay? And you behave yourself. All right, then. That's it for the Good Morning Show on WBOK. Thank you, Jared. What New Orleans are talking about all day long.